Hello and welcome back to the Honest Business Podcast. I hope you are very well. I'm coming at you today with an episode that I think pretty much all of us need to listen to from time to time. Share it with your colleagues, share it with your business friends. I think it might help a lot of people. And today we're talking about feeling confident in your achievements as a business owner, as a business leader, as a CEO. How do you feel confident in your achievements? Because a lot of us get really clouded vision on this and can feel really quite triggered by this a lot of the time, yeah? And it can be really something that people struggle with and then they don't, and then it comes back, or they struggle with it all the time. And I want to dive into it. So I want to be open. This is something I really struggle with as well. It's something that I work on very consciously a lot because it's tricky, it's hard. But I also want to talk about why this is important, okay? Because the reason we have to feel more confident in our achievements is the reason we need to acknowledge what we have done is because that then gives us a momentum and a moment for us to expand beyond that. And whatever we have achieved already is not our limit. Is not what we were just meant to do. It isn't a kind of tick box exercise. It's not a stagnation point. It's an elevation point. And it is a point for us to move forward, even if it's uncomfortable. And so we need to find confidence in that. We need to find strength in our achievements, and we need to recognize them and be able to speak about them and say, wow, yeah, I've done this. This is what I've done. Look at me. That feels very uncomfortable for a lot of us. It feels very like palpitations, sweaty palms. It feels very un-British. If you're British, I think it's quite a British thing that we struggle with a lot. But, you know, it's universal in the sense of people really struggle with that. So let's talk about it today. And I've also got some tips and some tools for you to manage it and to actually move through it. So this is, I would say it's an epidemic. It's something that's really structural, it's current, it's in culture, and it's an issue. It's something that we all can resonate with at various points in our life. And I think it's something that women really are challenged by sometimes. We sometimes really struggle with that, and I definitely feel that myself. I think if you've been told not to be braggy, or you don't want to appear grateful, or there's many terms that you may have grew up around or have been told as ideological concepts that then prevent this from being an easy option for you or make this a bit tricky. But we have to change this in order for equality to move forward, in order for more women to take up space in business leadership and entrepreneurship, for anyone who identifies as being non-binary. This is a really key thing that we have to get over, because otherwise we just have men, which we love men, it's not about slating men, but we just have men who are then leading forward and are moving things, like advancing things, but we're not being represented. And it is our responsibility to go ahead with things, to be confident and say, no, I'm really confident in what I've achieved and I want to do more. And yes, we have to have those doors open to us. And yes, we have to have the opportunity available. And yes, we need men to be allies and to kind of help us along. But there does become an element where we as individual women have to be like, I'm really confident in what I do and what I've achieved, and I'm ready for more. Now, what the issue is that we often can gaslight ourselves. We can gaslight ourselves into thinking, oh, well, it wasn't really that great, or we haven't really done that, or so-and-so didn't really do that, or, like, that was good, but the other client didn't do that, or they didn't do as well, so that discredits what the other person's done. Like, you can find so many ways to discount, to discredit, to reduce your achievements and your abilities, and that doesn't help anyone. It really doesn't. And it's damaging for you. And actually, I want to go one step further and remind you and suggest to you that this can actually ruin your business. Your whole business can ruin, it can stagnate, and it can be self-sabotaged by this behavior. So the reason I'm doing this episode is because we haven't got a choice. Like, You have got to get this under control, and we all have to try to lift each other up. Because if women were more able to celebrate their success and to stand proud of what they've done, we would then have more women who are more fiercely able to stand and advocate for what they know they are capable of doing, and for the goals that they have in their head that they're a bit too scared to say out loud and to say, I'm going to achieve them. And this has to stop. Like, we have to make more of an effort for all of us to move forward. So, this adventure that you're going to embark on, listening to this episode, and sort of moving forward after this episode, is really key to scaling your business. It's really, really key to you getting to that next level. And this also might be the reason that you're stagnating. For some people, they come to me and think, I don't know what's wrong. Like, the business is not failing. The business is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. It's making money. It's making profit. I live off it. Great. You know, they pay the team, etc. But they just feel a bit flat, or they feel like, oh, it's just not the best. I think I would encourage you to think about, okay, well, what can you change? What are you in control of? And where can you lead yourself forward? And this idea about feeling confident in your achievements is massively driven through your self-leadership and your ability to lead yourself to more. And that might mean more money, more impact, more team, more growth, more clients, more joy, more happiness. Whatever more means to you, that's fine. But understanding that your scaling journey is not just about your solid strategy of getting from A to B. It's also about mastering this side of stuff, which is your self-leadership development and is your personal development of getting yourself there and feeling confident in that. Really important. So let's talk about some ways that you can manage this, some practical ways. First up, you have to know and trust and understand that this isn't going to go away. It's likely going to be there, right? You're always likely going to think, oh yeah, like I achieved that, but it's not like great, or oh yeah, it was fine, or maybe you don't want to post it because you're like, oh well, if I don't post it, then I can just pretend it hasn't happened. Like, you need to understand that this probably isn't going to go away. So it's more so about you giving yourself permission to explore areas and ways of managing this that benefit you. Next up, you need to give yourself credit and give yourself your power back. Give yourself credit, celebrate it, open a bottle of champagne, go and have a massage, have a bath, like do something where you're like, do you know what, I'm celebrating this because I've done that, I've made that happen. And don't do the thing that so many of us do where you sort of offload it to the other people around you and therefore say, oh, well, it was the team that made that happen, or this made it happen. Like, yes, your team is involved, but a lot of the things that you will achieve will have come because of you and your leadership rather than everybody else around you. And it's okay to credit yourself and give yourself that power. I think you also need to learn and understand what leading yourself means and looks like to you. What does that mean? Who is she? What sort of leader do you want to be for yourself? Do you want to be someone who makes it really hard for themselves, puts themselves down, and purposely trips themselves up? Or do you want to be a really open, welcoming, non-judgmental leader who will hold you and who will encourage you to live out your dream life? Because that's the decision you have to make, and that's the decision that you've got. You work out what that means to you. Look at leadership. What does self-leadership mean? You get to be your best friend. You get to be your own coach. You get to be the person that leads you forward and is kind to you. And I think when people say to me, how do you do that well? It comes down to acceptance, and it comes down to understanding of being soft and gentle, but also knowing when to lead and be hard. And you have to learn for those to coexist and to balance themselves out, because it's really important. The next thing that you can do to manage this and improve the idea of celebrating your achievements is acknowledging your success. actually physically taking a moment to acknowledge it, write it down, get a pen in your hand and actually write that down. And the act of writing can be so helpful for that brain-mind connection to acknowledge what you've done. It is so easy if you are running a really big business, a small business, a business that's moving and has lots of moving parts and is moving fast, to just discount things and to just put things on your desk and let it slide, to forget things. I have done things where people have had to remind me at the end of the week, May, have you remembered that you have just done this or managed to make this happen? And I sit there and go, no, completely forgot. Because my brain's on item 206, not item 6 that happened on Tuesday. But you need to be able to acknowledge that. You need space to be like, wow, yeah, actually, that's really meaningful and important. You have to acknowledge your success. Otherwise, your fulfillment is going to become very difficult to hold and to sort of put a value on. So linking to that, you then need to get into the habit of celebrating small wins. I want you to celebrate every win in your business, whether that's big or whether it's small, and I want you to pull on the small wins. This is something that I do in the business across clients, no matter where they are with me, what platform they're on, what sort of service they have with me. Finding small wins is a non-negotiable. People need to find wins in their day-to-day. The more wins you find, the easier things become, the momentum you build, and the business grows. I have seen this change people's ability to lead themselves. I've seen this change people's headspaces on success and how they're doing in their business. Some people will think they're failing dramatically. And in fact, they've got loads of small wins, but just because there's not a big win, they think that it's not valid. It's absolute bullshit. You are creating small wins every single day, and they need to be identified and they need to be celebrated. Now, identifying them can be very tricky. It can be hard to do at the beginning when you're not used to it. Then you get used to it and it changes and it becomes such an easier activity. However, there is a lot of research around why this is helpful from a neuroscience perspective, from a happiness perspective, from a positive psychology perspective. Like, celebrating small wins is so immensely important and really something that I'm really passionate about, as you can tell, but is a practical solution that will help you feel more confident in your achievements over time if you do it consistently. Next up, reflection is key. Remember that reflection is such a big, important part of your role as a business owner, as a leader, as a CEO. You have to reflect. You need time to reflect and you need space to do so in an environment that is conducive to that. And so think about, when was the last time you reflected? When can you reflect more? How can you reflect more? What does reflection truly look like? The reason you need to reflect is because that will help you understand yourself better and understand your business better and also understand your achievements more. Next up, have a coach or a source of external feedback to support you. This really can help you if this is a chronic issue for you. So if you're someone who's thinking, I do not feel confident at all in my achievements, I can't even acknowledge them, I can't identify them, I don't want to hear them, I find it really hard. Have a coach. Having someone there to support you with that is really important. And I'd argue, if you can, you need that regardless. Even if you don't struggle with this, having this space for you to have a source of external feedback and to be able to talk to someone openly and have really raw conversations massively improves your self-leadership development, but it also really helps this idea of understanding your achievements. It's really key. The other thing I'd like you to do is to visualize your success. This is really fun, okay? But visualizing your success before it's happened will help you acknowledge it at the point it does happen. And I think this is something that people for a long time haven't really understood. So visualizing your success, you having that sort of playing in your head as a blueprint, understanding what it is you want and visualizing your success makes things easier for people to actually comprehend when it does happen, because your brain's then already programmed into thinking, right, well, I'm going to identify that and see it when it happens because we're thinking about it. And it's also likely to happen because I believe that it is possible. You have to believe that it's possible. And so visualizing your success and what that looks like and how that feels like will help you to actually own it and acknowledge it when it does happen. And this has really helped me. So this is one of the strategies that has massively, massively influenced me, helped me, and really changed the game with this, because it's allowed me to see things as more factual rather than opinion, and see it as, no, that's strategically is what it is. Stop arguing with it, May, because the fact is that it's X, Y, and Z. And so I think that that's really, really powerful. Next thing is quite a practical one. Keep a success diary, a journal, some kind of celebration bank on your computer, file emails that are really good. Like, create a space and a place for you to go to really understand your success. Because for some of you, you've got careers that have spanned, years, decades, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years even. There are so many wins that have been had during that time, which is great, but it's very easy for those to just be discarded. So I'd really suggest that you start keeping journals, spaces, online and offline, that you can look at, that you can see, that you can hold, that you can make physically real. Also, if you are in a business that is online, it's very easy for everything just to become intangible. And so nothing feels real, right? That's often why people want to write a book, because they're like, if I write a book, then it's like a real thing and I can go and see it. And they feel quite like that's quite soul affirming to them. And I'd argue like a lot of people write a book purely for that reason, because they just feel like they want that level of validation. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying that you can create some of that for yourself through creating, something like a success journal or celebration bank, or things where you're collecting positive feedback. Linking to this is I want to encourage you to post your success on social media. And this is a tough one for a lot of us, but I want to put this in there to push you, because feeling confident in your achievement as a business owner can also be feeling comfortable to be visible and share. And so I want to encourage you to post on social media about wins that you have. And this can be vulnerable. I am not encouraging you to then seek sort of external validation. I'm not saying that that's the point of it. What I'm saying is it's about you being open enough to be vulnerable, to say, I'm happy to put this out there and I'm happy to receive any feedback. And even if that's negative feedback, I know that's not about me and it's not negative towards me. It's just a reflection of the person that's posting it. And I'm not saying you will get negative feedback. I'm just saying that's often a worry in some people's heads. So I want you to really think about, what can I post on social media that is a success post? And I've gone on a real journey of doing this recently, and it's uncomfortable for me, right? But I've been doing it because I've realized that I can't tell other people to do it without me doing it. And also, the more that as women we do this, the more that we get comfortable and the more real it is, because then we stop feeling any kind of way about it. It then becomes more neutralized. So post your success. Say, I've built this thing, I've done this, I've won this thing, I made this happen, I'm featured here, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Share it. The other reason I've realized sharing it's really powerful is that the amount of impact that can have on other people and what it gives other people permission to do is huge. It shows people what is possible. And as women especially, we need to see other women as role models, showing what business can look like, showing what entrepreneurship can do to our life, showing a balanced life, showing people that love their life. Do you know how rare that is? So rare to find people who are in love with their life and what they do and have a great time. We need to share that. So put it on social media and shout about it. The next thing for us to look at is learning to love yourself. You need to go on a journey of learning to love yourself unconditionally, not based on parameters, not based on X, Y, and Z thing. Like, it needs to be, how are you feeling confident in your achievements is strategically linked massively to loving yourself. Do you love yourself? If you hate yourself, it's going to be really easy for you to discredit every single thing you achieve. If you love yourself, you've got a much higher chance of actually you're going to go for it and say, do you know what? I've done this, people. Great. Look at me. Like, I've had a really good time and I've really worked hard. Learning to love yourself. I know that's hard. I know that's a long-term thing. I'm not saying that this is just an instant hit, but it's something that you can commit to doing over a period of time. Linking to this, I want to invite you to really up your self-care. really up how you support yourself. Because when we look at getting confident in your achievements as a business owner, that also comes down to how much time do you allow yourself to look after yourself, to be with yourself, to give yourself the space and time that you need. And that's really important, right? It's really, really key. List down all the ways that you would like to look after yourself. Do you want massages? Do you want to have a therapist? Do you want to eat healthy food? Does having like a bath every day really help you? Does exercising really important? You know, do you want to learn a new language? Like, what is self-care to you? List down all the ways. If money was no object, list down all the ways that you would like to support yourself. And then start building a plan around what's doable, what's achievable, what needs to happen in the business in order for me to be able to do X, Y, and Z thing. Because I want you to have that dream plan of self-care. I want that to be a reality for you. And that you will think that's really random and off the hook relating to what we're talking about, but it isn't. It's so linked with feeling confident in your achievements because it massively helps you understand your worth and your power as a human being, and how precious you are and how unique you are. It's really important. The next thing, and the final thing, is actively working on your leadership and emotional intelligence skills. If you want to be more confident when you achieve things in your business and want to feel like you own it more and feel more like, yeah, I am a person who's really proud of what they've achieved, then a lot of this comes back to your leadership and your emotional intelligence development and really making sure that that is a solid piece of work that you are committed to doing over a long period of time. Because as this has developed for me and as I've gotten better at this, it's really helped me. Like, everything becomes so much easier. Everything becomes easier in terms of acknowledging success and enjoying it and really finding validity in it and understanding that I'm not making it up and not gaslighting myself. I've found that the gaslighting has been less when I've been able to identify what it is. Because for years I didn't even know I was gaslighting myself. It was just like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And then once I identified that, I was like, wow, awareness. Awareness is huge, yeah? And being able to lead yourself through that, so immensely powerful, and will set you up for success, more success along the line, for sure. That was the episode today on feeling confident in your achievement as a business owner and leader and CEO. If this has resonated with you, come and have a chat with me on Instagram at may.james_. I'd love to talk more about it. Tell me how you found it. Tell me what you do to manage it. Maybe you've listened to this and thought, you know what, I don't struggle with it at all. And if that is the case, hallelujah, I love that for you. That is amazing and well done, because I think you're one of the few and far in between, and that is beautiful because we need more people who this doesn't resonate with. Ideally, we don't want this to be a valid episode at all. So yeah, I think this has been a really good thing to have a discussion on. I will speak to you soon. Take care and commit to celebrating your achievements. Post on social media a day. That's your task. Post one thing that you're celebrating, a win, something that is really beneficial to your business and that or yourself, a win. It can be a personal win that you've really made happen and that you're proud of. I will catch you in the next episode. Speak soon and take care. Have a great day. Bye.